Hey guys, today I wanted to make a quick video about Richard Stallman. Richard Stallman had a birthday 2 or 3 days back, so there was a lot of posts on the internet about Richard Stallman. I didn't make any kind of post here on my YouTube channel about Richard Stallman's birthday. You know, it's a birthday, comes every year. It's nothing special, but Richard Stallman, he is a hero to me. He's a hero to most people that run GNU/Linux as our operating system, because Richard Matthew Stallman, a lot of times we just use his initials, RMS, on the internet. RMS, Richard Stallman, he is the founder of the GNU project. So GNU/Linux. The GNU is Richard Stallman. Of course, Linux is the kernel created by Linus Torvalds. Those two men really created the operating system we're running today. Other than founding the GNU project, he also founded the free software movement. Richard Stallman also founded the Free Software Foundation. He founded the League for Programming Freedom, and he invented the concept of copyleft, which protects the ideals of the free software movement. It is the concept that is used in our widely used GPL, the General Public License. So Richard Stallman, again, he's a hero to me. He's a hero to many of you. Most of us that support the whole free software concept really idolize Richard Stallman, lionize him. He is a very, very principled man. Sometimes comes across as stubborn, but I respect him for that. But when his birthday came 2 or 3 days ago, and there was a lot of stuff on the internet about it, and a lot of forums, a lot of subreddits, a few people were sharing quotes from Richard Stallman that I had never seen before, quotes that had nothing to do with the free software movement. And I was not aware of some of these quotes of Richard Stallman, and I'll be honest with you, some of them kind of disturbed me. They kind of changed my opinion of this man. Let me share a few of these with you. So, let's talk about Richard Stallman's opinion on pedophilia and its legality. This quote here is from June 28th, 2003. It's a rather lengthy quote, about 3 paragraphs. Let me read the first paragraph for you. W, that is George W. Bush, has nominated another caveman for a federal appeals court. The nominee is quoted as saying that if the choice of a sexual partner were protected by the Constitution, then, quote, prostitution, adultery, necrophilia, bestiality, possession of child pornography, and even incest and pedophilia also would be. He is probably mistaken, legally, but that is unfortunate. All of these acts should be legal as long as no one is coerced. They are illegal only because of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. So Richard Stallman just said, prostitution, adultery, necrophilia, bestiality, possession of child pornography, incest, and pedophilia all should be legal. They are only illegal because of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. No, Richard Stallman, they are illegal for other reasons. In particular, pedophilia and bestiality are illegal because of how unequal that particular relationship is. With pedophilia, you're dealing with adults and children in a sexual relationship. That is a very unequal relationship. That is not fair to the child, obviously, whether that child is in that relationship, you know, with consent or not. That's not a fair, that's not a good relationship. That is not a healthy relationship. Bestiality, the same way. I mean, an animal and a man, that's an unequal relationship. Richard Stallman is just way, way, way off base here. If you want to, say that prostitution should be legal, I'm okay with that. Child pornography, that's a step too far. Incest, maybe not incest as far as the sexual relationship, but having children in an incestuous relationship, yeah, that definitely should be illegal. The second paragraph, he mentions that there probably should be some rules set in place if you're going to make things like prostitution and incest legal. He mentions you should be forced to use, condoms, contraception in the case of prostitution and in the case of incest. He also mentions in the third paragraph necrophilia. Let me read this one. For necrophilia, it might be necessary to ask the next of kin for permission if the decedent's will did not authorize it. Necrophilia would be my second choice for what should be done with my corpse, the first being scientific or medical use. Once my dead body is no longer of any use to me, it may as well be of some use to someone else. Besides, I often enjoy rhinophytonecrophilia. That is nasal sex with dead plants. I don't even know what to make of that, but necrophilia should be legal. I agree that you're not hurting anybody as far as the dead body. Of course, that person is passed on. I mean, they no longer have a say in the matter, but he is right. The next of kin would have something to say about you desecrating their corpse. Yeah. All right, and this Richard Stallman quote is from June 5th, 2006. Dutch pedophiles have formed a political party to campaign for legalization. I am skeptical of the claim that voluntarily pedophilia harms children. The arguments that it causes harm seem to be based on cases which aren't voluntary, which are then stretched by parents who are horrified by the idea that their little baby is maturing. So once again, he says that children should be able to voluntarily enter in a relationship with an adult, a sexual relationship, that voluntary pedophilia harms no one, including the child. Wow. And here is another quote from January 4th, 2013 from Richard Stallman. There is little evidence to justify the widespread assumption that willing participation in pedophilia hurts children. Granted, children may not dare say no to an older relative or may not realize they could say no. In that case, even if they do not overtly object, the relationship may still feel imposed on them. That's not willing participation, it's imposed participation. That's a different issue. Well, he at least acknowledges that children may feel like this relationship is imposed on them, but he doesn't realize that a child can't voluntarily enter into this kind of relationship. It is always an unequal relationship. Someone that is not sexually, physically, emotionally mature enough to enter in these kinds of relationships, they should not be in these relationships. It should be illegal. It should be illegal, and the adult that preys on these children should be removed from society. So again, I was just made aware of some of these quotes by Richard Stallman just a few days ago because a lot of the Linux websites and forums and subreddits were celebrating his birthday. And I do admire Richard Stallman as far as what he has done, founding the free software movement and the GNU project and, the GPL, the copyleft principle, everything he's done. He's to be commended for that. But Richard Stallman, the person, my opinion's kind of changed on that. These pedophilia quotes over a number of years supporting the legalization of pedophilia and bestiality and necrophilia and some of these other things, but in particular pedophilia. He's a brilliant man, Richard Stallman, and he's got multiple doctorates. But I have no idea where he's coming from on this. No one that has any kind of sense or sanity actually thinks pedophilia doesn't harm children. So anyway, I just wanted to share this with you guys. Peace.